All right, let's dive into this one. Manchester City 3, Chelsea 1. Back on January 25th, 2025, Etihad Stadium. Guardiola Maresca.
Yeah, big names.
Absolutely. And, on paper, the scoreline, maybe not the most exciting.
3-1. It happened.
It does happen. But the analysis that we got for this is where it gets really interesting. So let's peel back the layers here.
Yeah, let's.
And I think there's a lot more to this match than just those 3 goals to 1.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, if you just glance at the result, you might think, oh, comfortable City win.
Right.
But it was anything but that, especially that first half. Chelsea really, really disrupted City's rhythm.
Okay, see, now you've got me even more intrigued because you've got these 2 incredible tactical minds. We're talking Guardiola,
Whoa.
who, we associate with that possession-based, beautiful football.
Right.
But he had hinted that he was going to be maybe a bit more flexible after I think they had a loss a little bit before this.
Yeah.
And then you've got Maresca, who's kind of known for that more compact, hit him on the counter, exploit any weakness.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, what a clash of style.
It really was. It's like imagine 2 chess grandmasters kind of sizing each other up, trying to think, 3-4 moves ahead.
Yeah, I like that analogy. It's a mental battle as much as a physical one, isn't it?
Exactly.
Now, in terms of formations, were there any surprises? Or did they kind of stick to what we're used to seeing?
Pretty standard formations. City, as usual, the 4-3-3.
Okay.
And Chelsea set up in a 4-2-3-1.
Okay. Classic. So nothing too out of the ordinary in terms of the initial setup.
No.
But how did those formations actually play out? Like, were there any sort of interesting matchups that emerged or any tactical wrinkles that we should pay attention to?
Yeah, so the way Chelsea set up with that 4-2-3-1, it really allowed them to pack the midfield, which made it really tough for City to find those passing lanes that they're so used to.
Okay, so basically clogging up the middle and forcing City out wide. Is that what they were trying to do?
Exactly. It was almost like Chelsea had 5 in midfield at times, the way their wingers tucked in, and then they were ready to just pounce on the counter if they won the ball.
And that brings us to that early Chelsea goal. So Madueke finds the back of the net, 12 minutes in? I mean, that's got to be a gut punch for City.
Oh, yeah.
What went wrong there from their perspective?
Well, I think it was a couple of things. First of all, Chelsea's counter-pressing was really, really effective.
Okay.
They forced City into a mistake, and then Kusanov, who was making his debut for City.
Oh, right, young defender. Yeah.
Just misjudged the header. And that kind of gifted Madueke that scoring opportunity.
Bid you to forget.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough way to start your City career.
Yeah, you got to feel for the guy a little bit. But, I mean, from Chelsea's perspective, perfect start, right?
Yeah, I mean, was this the Maresca masterclass? Everybody had kind of been building it up.
Right. Was this the moment where his tactics were just going to completely stifle City?
Well, for a while it looked that way. I mean, Chelsea were so disciplined,
Yes.
They were well organized, and like I said, they were really dangerous on that counterattack.
So at that point, what's Guardiola thinking? Is he, panicking? Is he got to have a plan B? Like, what's going through his mind?
Well, I think, Guardiola's never one to panic, but he did make a key adjustment, and this was in the 54th minute.
Okay.
He took off Kusanov
Right.
and brought on John Stones.
Interesting. Okay. So was that just a case of, shoring up the defense after that mistake?
I think it was a bit more than that.
Right.
Stones is so good on the ball, and he can play out from the back so well. It allowed City to kind of bypass Chelsea's press a little bit more effectively.
So suddenly, City's midfielders have got more time, more space.
Exactly.
They can start dictating the tempo again.
Yeah, and that's where the momentum kind of shifted.
Okay. And it wasn't too long after that City found their equalizer, Guardiola, with a goal from a set piece in the 29th minute. Now, we can't go into detail on every single goal, but was there anything particularly noteworthy about that set piece?
Oh, definitely. I mean, City's movement was just exceptional. They created so much confusion in the Chelsea box. They had multiple players making runs towards the near post.
Okay.
And that kind of dragged defenders away from Guardiola, who was left with a free header.
Smart.
It's classic Guardiola, right?
Attention to detail.
Attention to detail. He's got these set pieces drilled.
He knows.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. So, okay, so they've weathered the early storm. They found the equalizer.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to that crucial substitution, they're starting to get a foothold back in the game.
Yeah.
But now we have to talk about the man himself,
Yes.
Erling Haaland. But I think we need to save that for part 2 because it sounds like there's a lot to unpack there.
It's funny, even when Chelsea were on top defensively, you could just tell Haaland was waiting for his moment.
Working.
Yeah, lurking. He wasn't getting a ton of touches.
Right.
But you could feel that energy there. Like he was just waiting to be unleashed.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And I imagine that tactical switch from Guardiola, bringing Stones on,
Oh, yeah.
that probably played right into Haaland's hands, didn't it? Because suddenly, Stones is pinging those balls out from the back, stretching the defense,
Exactly.
creating those spaces that Haaland thrives in.
It's one thing to try and mark Haaland when he's in a crowded penalty area.
Yeah.
But when he's got space to run into, forget about it.
Oh, yeah. He's pretty much unstoppable in those situations.
Pretty much. And that's exactly what we saw in that second half.
Okay, so let's talk about those Haaland moments because, ultimately, they were decisive, right?
Yeah.
He scored one, assisted another.
He did.
But let's go beyond just the what. Give us the how.
Yeah.
What made those plays so special?
So his goal,
62nd minute.
62nd minute, it was all about his movement. He actually started in a deeper position.
Oh, interesting.
Almost like he was luring the Chelsea defenders in,
Okay.
giving them a false sense of security, and then bang! As soon as Foden picked up the ball, he just explodes forward.
Wow.
Perfect timing, stayed on side, and then that finish,
Classic Haaland.
classic Haaland, just pure power, precision,
Clinical.
clinical. It wasn't just about pace. It was about that intelligence.
It's timing.
The timing, the anticipation.
Almost like a telepathic connection with Foden.
Oh, absolutely. They read each other so well.
It's like they've got their own language out there on the pitch.
Exactly. And then you look at his assist for Foden's goal.
74th minute.
74th minute. Completely different side of his game.
Okay.
Receives the ball with his back to goal. Holds off a couple of defenders. And then just a little turn. Perfectly weighted pass.
Oh, the vision.
Vision. Releases Foden into space. Pure class.
We're not just talking about a goal scorer here.
No.
We're talking about a complete footballer.
Absolutely. He can create, he can score, he can dictate the whole flow of the game.
And, while Haaland was putting on this masterclass,
Right.
Chelsea did have their chances, didn't they?
They did. Nicholas Jackson, in particular, had a couple of great opportunities.
Oh, yeah, I remember those.
He had that close-range header that went just wide.
So close.
And then that one-on-one with Ederson.
Ooh.
Just couldn't quite convert.
Those are the moments that, as a Chelsea fan, you've got to be thinking, what if?
Yeah.
What if he'd buried just one of those?
Right.
Could have been a completely different story.
Possibly. But at the end of the day, at this level, you got to be clinical.
You got to take your chances.
Especially against a team like City.
Exactly. Because, once they get that lead,
Yeah.
they're pretty good at shutting things down.
Solid defensively,
Yeah.
especially in that second half.
Yeah. So, it really does make you wonder, were those missed chances the deciding factor? Or was City's dominance, especially in that second half, just too much for Chelsea to handle?
It's a good question.
It really does feel like we watched two completely different matches out there. Chelsea, organized, dangerous first half. But City just took over in that second half. Was that all Guardiola? Was it the tactical switch, or was it just City? They just kind of flipped a switch themselves.
I think it was a bit of both, to be honest. Guardiola taking off Kusanov, putting Stones on, that definitely helped for sure.
Yeah.
But you got to give City's players credit too.
Right.
They really adapted. They executed the game plan. Second half much better. I think a little more patient in possession. Their movement was just sharper.
Yeah. So a combination of the manager's tactical nous and then the players just kind of realizing, all right, we gotta step it up a gear here.
Right.
And that's what makes City so tough, right?
Yeah.
It's that ability to just adapt and improve over the course of a match.
Right.
What does this win? What does this tell us about City, about their title hopes? Are they the clear favorites now?
Oh, I think this definitely makes them the team to beat, but it also shows that they're not unbeatable. They can be vulnerable, especially if a team can press them high, force them into those early errors.
Yeah. We saw those defensive lapses.
Yeah.
And Kuznetsov, it's tough debut for him. I wonder if this might have a lasting impact, confidence-wise, Or do you think he's going to be able to bounce back from that? I mean,
Hmm.
it's not easy coming into a team like City with all that pressure and having a game like that.
No, it's a tough lesson
I
for
know.
sure. But Guardiola, I mean, he's got a good track record of developing young players. I'm sure he'll work with Kusanov, help
Yeah.
him learn from this. You know, everybody makes mistakes, even the best players in the world. It's all about how you respond.
That's a great point. It's part of the journey. All right, well let's shift our focus to Chelsea for a second. What are the main takeaways for them? I mean, they had a game plan, they executed it, pretty well in that first half, but ultimately they couldn't quite get the result. What do they need to work on?
Well, I think this match definitely showed that they need to, be more clinical in front of goal.
Yeah.
They created some great chances, but they just couldn't finish them. But they also showed that they can compete with the best.
Yeah.
I mean, their organization, their work rate, that counterattacking threat, that was all very impressive.
So it feels like Maresca, he's got them moving in the right direction,
Yeah.
but there's still some things they need to fine tune. I mean, what would you say are his top priorities going forward?
I think he's got to work on their composure in that final third.
Okay.
Just, those combinations around the penalty area, making sure they maintain that defensive discipline even when they're chasing a goal.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, work to be done, but also a lot of reasons to be optimistic if you're a Chelsea fan. I mean, this was a fascinating tactical battle, some moments of real brilliance from both sides.
Oh yeah, I mean we saw it all out there. We saw how Guardiola can adapt, Haaland's impact,
Hmm.
what Chelsea can do under Maresca. I mean, fantastic game.
Yeah, we went deep on those tactics, explored the turning points, got a little glimpse of maybe what this all means for both teams for the rest of the season. I really appreciate you breaking it all down with me. It's been fun.
Yeah, anytime. I mean, it's always great to go deep on a match like this. So much to analyze, so much to talk about.
Absolutely. And to everyone listening out there, remember, even in a result that seems straightforward, on paper, there's always more to the story.
Keep asking those questions. Keep analyzing.
And most importantly, just keep enjoying the beautiful game. We'll see you next time.